Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here with a Gamerscore milestone video, and in this video I'm going to be going over some of the games that I've recently played in order to reach 500,000 Gamerscore. This is not the first video of this type of series. I've probably done 8 before this. I'll link them in the description, obviously. So I think this is the 9th one, and I've been doing this kind of every 50,000 Gamerscore. And I reached 450,000 back, I think, in May of 2018. So we've done the last 50K in just a couple months, like 6 or 7 months, if I can count correctly. Gamerscore is obviously a lot easier to get than it's ever been, and as a result, people are attaining it faster and faster and faster. Now, obviously, before we get started, I just want to encourage you guys to game however it is that you like. Basically what I'm saying is that I play a lot of easy games to get Gamerscore. I also play a lot of the new releases, but I don't tend to complete them because I don't like grinding through stories multiple times. I don't like having to replay games on harder difficulties, etc., etc. So, you know, my gaming habits may be very different from your gaming habits. This is a judgment-free zone all around. So yeah, hopefully you guys can just enjoy gaming and enjoy getting Gamerscore or earning achievements whatever way you like. So we are currently at 501,000 Gamerscore. I did have to quickly record a video of a new game before making this video. But if you want to follow me, Macca91 is my gamer tag. You can drop a follow, kind of see what I'm playing, see what I'm working on, and whatnot if you want. All right, let's just get straight into the games for now. And starting off with the last game I played, that is The Gardens Between, which is a puzzle game that recently came out on Game Pass. I got 1,000 out of 1,000. I made a video for it. That video is about an hour long, and you can grab the 1,000 in this game in that 1 to 2 hour range. I actually thought this game was pretty good. It's very expensive if you want to buy it flat out, but if you want to get it with Game Pass, that's probably what I would recommend. The next game we have on the list, Xbox Live takes a really long time to load up these games nowadays, by the way, so that'll be an interesting little feature of this video. The next game down I have is Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which obviously, based on the amount of Gamerscore I have in it, you can imagine I haven't played very much. I'm about halfway through the first Spyro game, have 370 out of 3,000, and I do plan on playing it a lot more. I don't have too much to say about it, although I am enjoying my time with it so far. I do have a lot to go. This was also the game I used to actually reach 500,000 Gamerscore. I didn't really plan it. It just kind of ended up working out like that. And the achievement I used to actually reach that milestone was Pops of the Tops, which I guess kind of fits, but not really. Moving on, the game before that is Hitman 2, and I have 955 out of 2,000. And I really love this game for its gameplay. I think the new maps are really great. There are a couple of really weird things about it. For example, the word prologue is in the title of the game. So when you're playing it, it always says you're playing Hitman 2 Prologue, no matter which part of the game you're playing. Also, the achievement list on its own is a bit of a disaster because it's basically a 300 Gamerscore game with 18 packs of DLC. Every level has its own DLC, and it's really, really overly complicated for no reason. So it's a bit of a disaster in that sense, and currently I'm at 955 out of 2,000. I've only been playing the default Hitman 2 and the Hitman 2 maps. There are also the Hitman 1 maps that are in this game that allow you to re-earn the achievements from the last game for some reason. And those are there, but I don't know. We'll see where I end up with Hitman 2. I'd like to actually get the full Hitman 2 completion, but the full Hitman 2 completion isn't actually all 2,000 Gamerscore. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. But I have enjoyed kind of grinding my way through levels, earning the masteries. Hitman 2, the gameplay is phenomenal. I really like it. Battlefield 5, mixed emotions here. I have the 1,000. I played a lot of this game online. I'm probably around the 30 to 35 hour mark. I really enjoyed it with friends. I enjoyed working my way through multiple classes, playing different game types, earning score with my friends. But overall, the game left me wanting more. I think it lacks a significant amount of content. There are a lot of tabs that are in the main menu that are not active. The story is not very good. It's probably one of the worst Battlefield stories, in my opinion, in a very long time, which is saying a lot because Battlefield stories typically aren't very good. However, I did get the 1000. I did beat the story on hardcore difficulty, which actually was a little bit challenging in sections, but definitely not impossible by any means. A fairly easy completion. You can also boost a lot of the multiplayer stuff that might be a little bit difficult with some of your friends. If you can join a lobby with not a lot of people, you could join on the other team and stuff. The stats for like career rank and number of times in best squad don't work at all. That would have been cool if those actually worked. But yeah, Battlefield 5, don't like it as much as Battlefield 1, and I don't like it as nearly as much as some of the older Battlefields, which I really did love. And oddly enough, this is probably going to be a little bit controversial. It's sitting right next to Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which surprised me in the opposite direction. I really enjoyed Black Ops 4. I thought it did a lot of things right. Did it get rid of the campaign? Well, yeah. But the zombies is really good. They had a lot of focus on that. The multiplayer, I went through and I prestiged one time. I'll probably never play the multiplayer again. But the, 30 to 40 hour journey to prestige was a lot of fun. And blackout mode was maybe not as fun to me as a game like PUBG in terms of battle royale, but I did actually really enjoy my time with blackout. I played about 70 games. I got my 10 wins. I got all my multiplayer achievements. I got all my specialist achievements. Worked out a lot of the zombies achievements, and right now I'm at 675 out of 1,000. There's also some DLC which I don't own. And that might not seem like a lot, but it's actually pretty high. A lot of these achievements are very rare. And there's also I think 2 glitched achievements that are sitting at 0%. And they're worth a lot of points. I think one of them is worth 130 Gamerscore, which you can't get. And another one's worth 15. So you can't even get the 1,000 if you wanted it. Nonetheless, I'm pretty proud of this 675 out of 1,000. It's a lot for one of probably the hardest Call of Duty game in a very long time. Next up, we're going to go with Forza Horizon 4, 1,000 out of 1,000. Pretty proud of this completion. It's not hard by any means, but it does take a while. I think I clocked in around the 70-hour mark. Not as hard or as long as Forza 2 or 3, but definitely harder than Forza 1. A lot of the online achievements is kind of what I wrapped up recently. I did all the single-player stuff kind of when the game first was coming out. Yeah, Forza 4 is a heck of a time. I enjoyed my time with it a lot. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about whether the seasons and the season changing was like the best thing for the game. I think that kind of holds it back a little bit, but it is an interesting mechanic, and it's cool that like every time you go back into Forza, it's a different season. I just don't know if that's like for me necessarily. After that, we have Pubg. Oh boy, do I have stories and stories and stories about this game. As you guys may be aware, I've played this game a lot. I think I'm at about 700 hours, 28 days worth times 24 hours per day. It's probably around 700. There's also the test server, which has a lot of hours. 1 win away from 200 wins. I have more kills than I should, and been playing this game a lot. But this game was a game preview game for a very long time. And in September, they decided to release achievements for it. And some of those achievements were retroactive, but a lot of them weren't. Basically, the ones for getting kills and wins were retroactive, and none of the other ones were. And the biggest problem I thought with the game was that when it actually finally launched into 1.0, none of the achievements worked at all, which is why you see this huge gap from like September, and then it just kind of jumps to like October. Stuff would kind of work, but not really work. For some people, it worked 100% of the time. For some people, it never worked. It was a giant mess when the achievements came out. And as a result, me and my friends kind of stopped playing the game because it was really unfun for some of us to have achievements work, some of us to not have achievements work. And we all kind of lost interest all at the same time when 1.0 came out, which was really unfortunate because I really thought this was a game that I could pretty easily get to 1,000 Gamerscore in just through playing. But I'm at 670 out of 1,000, which isn't bad. But considering how much time I've put into this game, it would have been nice to kind of grind it out and finish it off. Maybe one day. When they add a 60 frame per second option, that would be great. Rise of Insanity. I played through this game 10 times. Why did I play through this game 10 times, you may be asking yourself? Well, it is incredibly glitchy, and one of the achievements requires you to collect a collectible, and there's 3 types of this collectible, which is the armor pieces, and unfortunately, if your game crashes in between armor pieces, you can't unlock this achievement. My game crashed 9 times in a row before I was finally able to go through the entire game, grab all the armor without it crashing, and my final achievement finally unlocked, which is why there's a 6-month gap between 900 and 1,000. Rise of Insanity. I have a video for this game. Don't play this game, though, unless you want to drive yourself to insanity. Pun intended. That joke was made about 1,000 times, so it's not unique to me by any means. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, 770 out of 1,000. Haven't played the DLC quite yet. I beat the game just recently, actually. I played through the vast majority of it kind of right around launch, and then I went back to it just about a week or two ago and wrapped it up. I played on the second hardest difficulty. I don't want to replay it on the hardest difficulty, and there's a couple of like random achievements I'm missing, like grabbing all the little collectibles around the map and whatnot. This game was interesting to me. Like, there was a lot of things it did really well. Obviously, the graphics were good. The sound was good. The storytelling on its own was good, even if the story wasn't necessarily that great. The stealth mechanics were incredible. Probably some of the best stealth mechanics of any game I've played. Unfortunately, everything that was good about the game was vastly underused. You learn all of these cool stealth mechanics and all these cool abilities, and then you never use them. You only come up to like maybe 5 total stealth encounters in like the entire game. So even though it had things that were like incredible in the game, I thought those mechanics were underused. And then instead they relied on like shooter mechanics, but the shooting mechanics in Tomb Raider are not good. So they kind of were unfocused on the bigger picture here. The story was kind of overly complicated for no reason. And overall, it left me with a not so good feeling about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Even though it's not a bad game by any means, they just made some questionable decisions, in my opinion. Stormboy, it's going to be one of the easiest games of the year. No doubt it'll be on our list for top 10 easiest games of 2018. It's a 15-minute completion, roughly. I do have a video up for it if you'd like. Don't have too much to say about this game. It's okay. I mean, it's kind of one of those games that are very easily forgettable, but the vast majority of Gamerscore people will probably play it. Cities Skylines. For some reason, it says Windows 10 edition. That is not correct. This is the Xbox edition, but I think they might have merged both editions and combined them lately. And so I was making a video about mouse and keyboard support on Xbox. It got me thinking about what kind of games would be great for mouse and keyboard support on the console. And Cities Skylines is one of probably the best games that could implement this, even though they haven't yet. This was a game that I got addicted to, and I played like 20 hours of it in 2 or 3 days, and then I stopped playing it. But then I picked it back up recently, and I have 675. I don't own the DLCs, but some of the title updates do allow you to earn achievements. And this game is not easy by any means. As you'll see as we're scrolling, a vast majority of these achievements are kind of around the 1% to 5% mark. And they kind of require you to have a pretty good understanding of how the game works, all the little mechanics and whatnot, and how to kind of adjust your city for certain things. This is a really great game, especially if you like those kind of tycoon games from back in the day. It gives you those kind of vibes, but it has the whole city building element. City Skylines, greatly underrated game. If you enjoy micromanage type games, it's a good game. Overwatch Origins. I'm not sure why it's so high on the list. I don't remember playing it recently. The last time I played it, it seems to have been back in May for the Retribution event, which I grabbed all those achievements in. 0.03%, 0.04%. Those seem pretty rare. I think I might have talked about them, though, in my last video, so we'll kind of just gloss over that. Hitman, we've talked about it before. I just loaded it up in order to grab the maps for Hitman 2. Red Dead Redemption 2, no doubt pretty much going to be everyone's game of the year. I am currently at around 100 hours, although some of that time has been spent idling. I am only around 75% of the story. I'm only around 70% of the 100% completion. The reason I didn't complete the story was because I was making videos for the game. No spoilers. I will leave it at that. I didn't want to complete the game specifically so that I could make videos about the game before the end of the game. And yeah, I have pretty much everything I could have up to the point of the game I'm in. I've completed multiple chapters. I've gotten a couple of the missables. I have all of the honor missions completed. I've also grinded some of the bear kills or whatever. Have a decent amount of like skinned animals and whatnot. I definitely have a lot of progress in Red Dead. I do plan on returning to it. Do I plan on getting 100% in it? It's a hard maybe. Shadow of Loot Box. It's one of those games. This game is made by Radalaika Games, which is a new publisher on the Xbox. They've published, I think, about 10 games total, and 7 or 8 of those 10 games take under 2 hours to get 1,000 gamer score. This is one of those games. I believe they're a Russian publisher, and all of their games are made by Russian developers. Shadow of Loot Box. It's a very interesting game. It's kind of like a comedy game in a way. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. It was one of those games, it's so different from everything else you play that it's kind of nice to use a game like this to break up all of the other games and kind of cleanse your palate, so to speak. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's also like only a couple bucks. So it's also hard to be like, no, don't buy this game. It's like $7, like calm down. So I don't know. If you're really bored and you like Gamerscore, you want to try something very different, Shadow of Loot Box. There you go. It's like a first-person shooter comedy game. I honestly don't even. It's kind of hard to explain. Midnight Deluxe. This is kind of like if Angry Birds was not good. So you're this little cube, and you shoot this cube across these levels in order to earn stars and complete the levels. You have to complete the first 40 levels and do a couple of small miscellaneous tasks. This is also a game published by that Radalaika Games publisher we were talking about. 1,000 gamer score in, I think, 45 minutes for most people. Maybe an hour if you get stuck on a level or two. Midnight Deluxe. Yeah, you fling a little cube across a little map and you try to get to the end. Twin Robots Ultimate Edition. Another game by that Radalaika Games. Another game that it takes under 2 hours to get 1,000. You play these two little robots. It's like a puzzle platformer, kind of. 50% of it is based on platforming. I would say maybe, 50% of it's kind of easy, loosely based puzzles. And yeah, nothing remarkable to say about this game. Very forgettable, but easy gamer score. Also, like, just a different game to kind of cleanse your palate. Jack and Jill DX. Yo, Radalaika Games. What's up? Another game, another 15 minutes, another 1,000 gamer score. On it, nothing remarkable to say about this game other than in that it is remarkably easy to get your 1,000 gamer score. You'll play through a couple of levels, you earn a couple of coins, play a couple of mini games, and before you know it, 15 minutes later, you are done. Jack and Jill DX. We're getting back now into some better games, to say the least. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, 360 out of 1,000. I've played this game a significant amount of time, probably around 25 hours. I'm player level 25. I've played it a lot, but I ended up just having to kind of move on to keep up with videos, play newer games. I don't remember exactly what came out after it, but I had to kind of move on, so I moved on, and I haven't had a chance to go back to it. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is actually really great, though. It works. Origins was a great game, which was the one that came out last year. This one kind of builds on it. They are similar. So if you've kind of just played Origins, don't move on to Odyssey unless you want to kind of play somewhat of the same game. But that's all I have to say about that. Next, we have Guitar Hero Live. An interesting story about this one. I have 970. The only achievement that's worth any gamer score I'm missing is the 1 million strums achievement, which is an achievement that is no longer attainable. It is because they actually got rid of the GHTV mode. And so since you can no longer play that mode, you can no longer get strums in that mode. The reason this is interesting is there's actually a couple of hundreds of people, probably 100 to 200 people, who have gotten this achievement in the last week prior to the mode closing. And the method for this, and I'm not kidding, typically involves getting a reciprocating saw and then like rigging it with duct tape in order for you to turn the saw on, and as the saw is moving in and out, you kind of rest it on the strum bar of the guitar and the saw just sits there and goes and just strums for you. And you're supposed to leave this fire hazard on the floor of your house for about 8 hours. And when you come back and hopefully your house is not burned down, you should have this achievement unlocked. I was going to do it. I just felt like it was too much of a hassle to go and rent a saw, hook it up, have that like fire hazard sitting on my floor, babysitting a saw that's just sawing its way through a guitar on the ground. I ended up not biting the bullet, but congrats to anyone who decided to go for it or was brave enough to do it. Yeah, I wish I could have had my 1,000 in this, but what are you gonna do? Rocket League, 2200 to 2200. We've talked about this game. There's really nothing more to say. Destiny 2, 1020. That includes some of the DLC achievements for Forsaken. Forsaken, I really enjoyed a lot more than the base game. I think Destiny 2 has come a long way, but I do know a lot of people who are not fond of their monetization strategy, which is to release content kind of every couple of months and charge people for it. And if you don't want to pay for it, that's fine. That's up to you. That's your decision. I really enjoy Destiny 2's gunplay, and I think Forsaken was a really fantastic game expansion. Life is Strange 2, Episode 1. Obviously, Episode 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not available. I actually thought Life is Strange 2 was just as good as Life is Strange 1, if not better. I was not a big fan of Before the Storm. I don't think a lot of people played this game, though, to be honest. I think there is not a lot of conversation about it, but it follows two different people from the first game. Their story is interesting. The game is well made, and I enjoyed my time with it. That's what we'll say for that one. Walking Dead, the final season. My apologies. 500 of 1,000. Rest in peace forever. We don't know. I mean, people are saying we're going to get the final 2 episodes because some developer stepped in, but that developer isn't really well known. We have honestly no idea if the last 2 episodes will ever really come out for sure. So this could be stuck at 500 of 1,000 forever. If you're unfamiliar with the situation, Telltale Games did go under. Everyone got fired. A whole bunch of stuff went down. And The Walking Dead was one of the things that kind of went down with it, but maybe not. Nothing remarkable to say, though, about the actual game. Transference, 1,000 out of 1,000. If you want to play through it and get your gamer score, it will take you a couple of hours. If you want to follow my video guide, it'll take you about 30 minutes. Full Blast, this will take you about 20 minutes and doesn't require a guide because you just sit there and play the most basic game ever made in man's history. You're a little ship, you move around, you dodge some stuff, you hold the A button to shoot stuff, and before you know it, 15-20 minutes later, you are done. Ratalaika Games, what's up? Don't Sink, an interesting game. You can get the 1,000 in about 2 hours. It took me about an hour and 45 minutes. I think for some people it takes 3 hours because there's some stuff you can technically miss if you are not careful with how you spend your money and your gold in the game. It is... I don't even know how to explain this game exactly. It's kind of like Risk as a general picture, and you're sailing across the ocean and trying to like recruit people and do missions, spend gold. There's these little boat fights. It's an interesting little unique indie game, but it's one of those games you'll probably quickly forget. Strange Brigade, the 1,000. Haven't played any of the DLC, which has been releasing. I believe Strange Brigade is on Xbox Game Pass as well. This game gets a lot of mixed reviews. I really enjoyed my time with it, but I also played it in co-op with 4 people or 3 people some nights of the week. And I liked it more than anyone else. The other 2 people were kind of medium about it. And it's one of those games. It's like a co-op shooter. I would highly recommend not playing it on your own, as it's not very fun on your own, although it might be a little bit faster to enjoy. Yeah, it's hard to really even say anything about this. It's a co-op third-person shooter if you're unfamiliar with it. It's kind of set in the 40s or 50s, and you're like this group of 4 co-op partners who go and try to find treasures, like lost treasures in the Egyptian pyramids. I honestly, I wasn't even able to pay too much attention while I was playing. Let's go back down here. Master Chief Collection. I think I just loaded it up to test some of the updates that they put into the game when they updated it, so I don't think I've earned anything new. Keep talking and nobody explodes. If you have one person in your life, like in real life, who you want to try a game with, even if they are not a gamer, I'd recommend this game. So you print off like a 30-page document with instructions on how to defuse a bomb, and the person who has the document is not allowed to look at the screen, and the person who is looking at the screen is not supposed to look at the document, and you guys are supposed to communicate between each other to solve the bomb so it doesn't explode. It's a really fun and cool game. I think it's been out like 3 years, and it just recently came to Xbox One, so I gave it a go. I have a lot to play still, but I enjoyed the 1 to 2 hours that I played of it so far. Again, I played it way back in the day as well. Modern Warfare 2, I think I just loaded this up when it went to back compat. Dead Cells, one of the biggest surprises of the year for me, 810 out of 1,000. I had the full intention of getting the 1,000 gamer score in this game, even though it is an exceptionally hard game to 1,000. I ended up moving on to a different game, and I ended up wanting to come back to this, but I never did. And now I feel like I've forgotten all of my skills in this game, and I feel like going back is just a death sentence to myself and a lifetime of frustration. The only thing I have left, I think, is every time you beat the game, you can increase the difficulty. So there's like, the normal difficulty, 1 cell, 2 cell, 3 cell, 4 cell, 5 cell. And I think all I have left is 3 cell, 4 cell, and 5 cell difficulty, which I'm pretty confident I could beat if I, had the time. If I kept going for the 1,000 when I initially started, I think I'd have it. But since taking a break, I'm not that confident in myself anymore. I do have some of the really hard achievements. So I have the achievement for defeating the final boss without getting hit, and defeating the final boss with the weapon called the Cursed Sword, which is a weapon where you die if you get hit a single time. So those are kind of tough, pretty rare as you can see. Dead Cells, a fantastic game. I'll talk about it more in my top 10 indie games of the year, though. After that, we have Haunted Halloween 86, probably one of the worst games I've played in the last 6 months. Very easy gamer score. You can get your 1,000 in, I think, like 20, 30 minutes. I do have a video about it if you want to figure that out. But, like, as a game, it's just not very good. I think what it is they actually they kickstarted a game that is actually on a physical Nintendo Entertainment System NES cartridge. And I think they actually ship that cartridge to people. And I think if you put that cartridge in your Nintendo, it actually works. So keep in mind, this is basically a game made in 2018 for a system from 1986. It can't be very good, right? Mother Gunship 1000 of 1000. I was first in the world to get this 1000. And before you tell me it was because I had an early review copy, that is not a valid criticism, as there were some glitched achievements that ended up being fixed. I was kind of the first person to come back into the game and wrap it up. I think these last two were glitched for a while, but I was sitting at 18 out of 20 for, waiting for it to be fixed for almost 3 weeks. And yeah, this game's actually a pretty tough 1,000. It's not necessarily too skill related, but it does have a little bit of skill and a little bit of luck kind of mixed together, because it is a randomly procedurated room game similar to Tower of Guns. It's made by the same guy. And yeah, you kind of have to get a little bit lucky with how your rooms spawn. You gotta, kind of have a little bit of skill and put all that together in order to get your 1,000. I think I'm at these stats haven't tracked properly, by the way. I think for kills I should have somewhere around 5,000-6,000. For deaths I should probably have around 100. So stat tracking is a 50-50 business on Xbox now. ACA NeoGeo The King of Fighters 2000. So unmemorable, I literally couldn't tell you how this game is different from any of the other ACA NeoGeo fighting games. I have kind of stopped playing ACA NeoGeo games, and I don't ever want to return, but I know myself well enough to know that I will probably play them again. The Bug Butcher, it was on Game Pass. I thought once it came to Game Pass, it was like a perfect opportunity to try to stream it and enjoy it. And not an easy 1,000, but definitely not too difficult either. There are a couple of grindy things, but if you really sit down and put your mind to it, you could probably finish it in under 5-6 hours. It does involve you being able to kind of combo every level. So it's one of those games where you're at the bottom of the screen and you can only shoot directly up. And there's all these enemies that are kind of crossing the screen in front of you. And you have to shoot the enemies in order to kill them. And when you get hit, you break your combo. So there's also a combo meter. And the combo meter dictates the amount of score you earn. And you have to reach a certain amount of score to get a certain amount of stars in the level to proceed. And it's a pretty cool game. It kind of surprised me about how good it was. Tetris Escape. People actually like this game. I thought it was one of the worst games I'd ever played. It is a puzzle game where you move a cube across the screen to try to get to like the exit of every level. The puzzles themselves were actually okay. They were fine. But like everything about the game was just terrible. The graphics were terrible. The sound was unbearable. The actual, like, the screens looked like they were foggy or blurry. It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever put on a VR headset that was not focused for your eyes. That's what the game looks like all the time. And it's glitchy. The controls are terrible. Everything about this game is like not good, except for the actual puzzles themselves, which are like okay. And I really didn't enjoy my time with this game, but I think a lot of people enjoyed it a lot more than I did. Moving on, we have Sam. Oh, also, what was it? I forget. I was going to make another point about something. Oh, the Bug Butcher. It did have some glitched achievements way back in the day, so if I ever talked about it having glitched achievements, those have been fixed. Moving on, though, we have Samsara, another game that had glitched achievements that they actually patched. Wow, 2018, the year of glitched achievements being fixed. Not really, though. As you guys are probably aware, most games nowadays, I feel like, ship with glitched achievements. They actually fixed the achievements in this one. And if you do follow a guide, I would not recommend a video guide for this game. I'd recommend like a picture guide because it's a puzzle game, and the way the puzzles are formed, it's way easier to form it through a picture of the solution than it is to follow a video along. There's a great walkthrough on trueachievements.com if you guys are familiar with that website. You can find this game. Go to the walkthrough tab and follow the pictures in that guide. And I think I was able to grab the 1,000 in like 2 hours. I want to say 2 hours. We'll go with 2 hours. Moving on, we have Assemblance Oversight. This is Assemblance 2, basically. I did make a video for this. You can get the 1,000 in about 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour if you get unlucky. It's very similar to the first game, where you are like in first person and walking through memories to remind yourself of things that trigger new memories, and so on and so forth. It's a pretty unique game, but Assemblance Oversight is not different from Assemblance 1 in the least bit, so I probably wouldn't recommend it for that reason. Tekken 7. This was a game that I think came like to free games with gold free weekend. So you could play it for free for the entire weekend from Friday to Sunday. And I just trucked through. I downloaded the game and I went through all of it as fast as I could. I got the 1,000 gamer score in I think roughly 5 hours, which isn't bad for a fighting game. Skill-related stuff, nothing crazy skill-related, but you definitely need to know the basics of online fighting games. I think there are a couple of achievements for like winning a couple of ranked games. There are a couple of things you can boost in player matches. There are a couple of tough things you need to do in like the story. You need to like complete the entire story with a character and like beat the secret level. Nothing crazy difficult. Definitely a fun game. Definitely a fun completion. And it didn't overstay its welcome. The Journey Down Chapter 3. I'm going to talk about this game when we get down to the Journey Down Chapter 1. We'll skip it for now. Trials Fusion just played for fun. Trials of the Blood Dragon, I convinced myself I could get 1,000. And then I realized how much I hated this game. And maybe one day. Maybe one day. Dirt 4. I don't think that's changed since the last time we did a video like this. Maximum Football 2018. Please don't play this game. Please don't support these devs unless you really love Gamerscore. This game is not good. It has glitches. It has the same glitches in it from Canadian Football 2017. So they made a new version, called it Maximum Football. They changed the year at the end. It's pretty much the exact same game. The the same problems. It has the same glitches. It doesn't work for people. I know people who have tried to play it and it just won't assign a controller to a profile, and they are now stuck forever at like 100 out of 1,000. The AI is please don't play it. State of Decay 2, 940 out of the original 1,000. Haven't played the DLC. I'm missing the 10,000 zombie kills, as well as I think beat the game as a constructor. I think that was one of the classes I was missing. Samurai Showdown number 5. Yeah, ACA NeoGeo games. Can't tell you which one's which anymore. Journey Down Chapter 2, we'll talk about this one soon. The Art of Fighting 3, another ACA NeoGeo game. Couldn't tell you this one apart from anything else. The Crew 2, I like racing games quite a bit. The Crew 2 was one of the racing games that kind of surprised me. It was pretty good. It wasn't like phenomenally good, but it was well above average. I enjoyed my... Oh, no, I clicked the wrong button. Let's find our place back here. The Crew 2, there we go. I think I'm at... I want to say this game takes around 30 hours. Okay, 25 hours, roughly. You do have to grind a couple of things. There's a few things that are kind of luck-based. Probably have to follow a couple of online tutorials about like how to take pictures of the photo opportunities. There's a couple of really cool races, a couple of not so cool races. There's planes, there's boats, there's cars, and it was a fun game, but like 25 hours was like the sweet spot for the Crew 2. If it had demanded 50 or 100 hours, I would probably say that I didn't have that great of a time. Western Press. This game took me an hour and a half. It is pretty dependent on skill. It's a button combination pressing game. So think of like a game like Guitar Hero where you're pressing buttons. But for this game, it's a Western shooter where you're dueling someone and all the buttons come up on screen and you have to press them in order as fast as you can so that the other guy doesn't press them faster and shoot you first. And that's the whole premise of the game. And you have to complete the story, which is 9 levels. Some people do get stuck on the final boss battle, I would say. I got lucky enough that I was able to kind of do it within 3 tries. So it didn't, it wasn't too hard. I think there are some things, if you can get really good at like pausing your game at just the right time, you might be able to cheese it. I think I read some strategies about people cheesing it by pausing their game. But yeah, so that's Western Press. You'll also have to have 2 controllers for that one, I think. And you'll have to have a co-op partner who can help you for 5 minutes in order to do an online game. Crash Bandicoot, the 3000. Oh, baby. I actually look like I have some competence in video games now. This game is not easy to get 1,000 in, let alone the 3,000 in. Primarily for Crash Bandicoot 1 and 2. Crash Bandicoot 3 is not that hard. But Crash Bandicoot 1 requires you to do the... I think it's this achievement. It's do the time trial on the kind of bonus level. And the bonus level is like 4 minutes. And it's very long and hard. And I think most people take around 3 to 4 hours just to do that one level. I think it took me right around that 4-hour mark. And that'll allow you to earn all the relics and finish off all the achievements. Crash Bandicoot games were never all that easy. They were pretty difficult. The controls were never really that great. And the game, it's not the easiest. I think if you're on true achievements, I think the 3,000 gamer score is worth around like 8,000 to 9,000 true achievement points, which is a decent ratio for a game like this. Pretty proud of this one. I'm not going to lie. I think it took me around 30 to 40 hours. The Long Reach, an easy 1,000 gamer score. I have a video that's about an hour long. You'll beat the game in about an hour to 2 hours. Nothing much to say about this one. It's kind of like Uncanny Valley. It's a side-scrolling, like 16 to 32-bit looking game. And it's interesting, but it's just probably not my type of game. But it's easy if you're into Gamerscore. The Path of Motus. Oh man, this game, it's honestly so hard to explain. It is technically a puzzle game. The main crux of the gameplay depends on the fact that you have these like puzzles where there's these nodes. You connect the nodes with lines in order to form pictures, and the pictures have to be specifically tied to the layout of the puzzle. And that aspect of the game is pretty good. The puzzles are well made. Everything in between makes literally no sense to me. You play a garden gnome, and you run through the game, and it's a platformer, and all of the face buttons make your garden gnome say a word, and there's these trolls that are making fun of you, and you shoot them with positive words to kill them, and then you go from puzzle to puzzle shooting these trolls who are making fun of you. I think it's supposed to have like a very positive message about like anti-bullying and stuff, but the game, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. The Moose Man, 1000 of 1000, another easy gamer score. This one's made by Sometimes You, which is one of the publishers who makes just easy games around the clock. Have a guide for this one that's roughly an hour and a half if you want to follow along and get your 1000. The Danger Zone 2. Danger Zone 1 was pretty interesting. Danger Zone 2, not that interesting. It's like the classic Burnout games. I think this one took me around the 5 to 8 hours, and nothing remarkable to say about it. Far Cry 5, 1000 of 1000, and then I've done spurts of the DLC. The DLC is not that great. I would highly recommend, if you buy this game, that you just skip the DLC entirely. The original 1000 out of 1000, though, is a lot of fun. I had a great time playing it, going through it, earning all the achievements, and whatnot, though. Super Destronaut DX, Ratalaika Games, what's up? This is one of those games by that dev who's made 10 easy games. This game takes, I think, 15 minutes, and it is incredibly easy. It just plays like Galaga. The Spectrum Retreat, a really cool puzzle game that I intended to play through but never got the chance to finish because it doesn't have chapter select, which makes it very hard to make videos for a game that doesn't have chapter select when it's puzzle-based. We'll get back to that one eventually, though. For Honor, just been playing For Honor with some buds. Halo 5, just been playing a little bit of Halo 5 with some buds back in the day. Sea of Thieves, 300 of 1000. Not much to say about it. It was interesting, but it's just too open-ended for someone like me who likes to be kind of told what to do. I like to have set out goals. Just sailing around the open seas, it's just not necessarily my type of game. Shaq Fu. I don't really know what to say about a game like this. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not good by any stretch of the imagination. It's an interesting game. I think you can beat it in, like, I want to say 3 to 4 hours, probably. Get this, guys. The main character is Shaquille O'Neal of basketball fame. Who would have thought? Unravel 2. This game was not good. I really, really didn't enjoy it. I loved Unravel 1. Unravel 2 was like one of those surprise launches from E3. And I tried my best to get into it. I just didn't enjoy the level design. The achievement list itself is pretty much impossible. And I just stopped playing the game. Outbreak, The Nightmare Chronicles. This is one of those games that's based on the original Resident Evil games. I think this one can be beat in about an hour and 20 minutes if you're quick. Maybe around 2 hours if you take a little bit longer. Very easily grindable. There's really not much to this game. You can just sit around and pretty much do the same 5-minute loop of activities for an hour and you're done. Onrush, 875 out of 1000. I really liked Onrush. It was it's now part of Game Pass. It had some glitched achievements for me, unfortunately, which made me stop playing it. I think since that time they fixed all the problems I had with the game. However, by the time they fixed the problems that I personally was having with some of the glitches, it had been about a month or two, so I never got my chance to go back. I'm sorry about my small burps. The Journey Down, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3. Each one's going to take you around 1 to 2 hours. I have a video up for The Journey Down Chapter 1. There are other videos for Chapter 2 and 3 if you want. You can't get Chapter 2 and 3 without buying the whole bundle, which is $40, which is way too much money to spend for these 3 games. I think these 3 games are like all 3-year-old ports of iPhone games. If I remember correctly. They're not very good. They're point-and-click adventure games, if you're wondering about the genre. You can do more research about them if you want. Up to you if you want to play them, though. They are easy. Far Cry 3 Classic, didn't really get a chance to get into it too deep, but I enjoyed playing what I did of it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, baby. I don't know why I went back to this. I remember I was watching Brown Man stream, and he was talking about it, and I was like, man, wouldn't it be just a great old meme to get 1000 gamer score in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, one of the worst games ever made? And then I went back to it and I started playing it and I regretted my decision immediately. And as you can see, I took a break from 2015 to 2018. It literally a 3-year break. The game's not any better than it was back then. Just no pun intended, just a lot of grinding to be done. You have to earn a lot of stat points, and the only way to earn stat points is to basically just start a new character, go through the first couple of levels, start a new character, go through the first couple of levels, and you just repeat and repeat and repeat. And then eventually you'll reach level 50. You'll get the grinding and manuals. You'll bail out a couple times and you'll be done. I don't recommend going for the 1,000, although in a weird way I am kind of proud of this. Took around 30 hours, and it is pretty rare because the game is so bad that no one wants to play it. I have loved Tony Hawk games my entire life, though. So there was just this part of me that I had not played any good Tony Hawk games for so long. I just wanted any Tony Hawk game, and this was all I had. This was the only option. Goroh Go, an interesting puzzle game. It's very hard to explain unless you kind of watch gameplay, but you're kind of like reading a storybook, and you're flipping pages onto each other to like connect them. A very interesting game. I do have a video for it to get your 1,000 of 1,000. The video is about 30 minutes long. However, you do have to speedrun the game, and it's very unlikely that you'll be able to speedrun it on your first time through the game. So it'll probably take most people around 2 to 3 hours to kind of follow the video along, learn the game well enough to be able to speedrun it. Inksplosion. I made a big mistake by releasing a video saying that this was one of the easiest games I've ever played because apparently people did not agree. This is a game like Geometry Wars where you fly a little ship around the map and you shoot little enemies that explode into ink. Inksplosion. And I beat this game in 11 minutes on my first time through, the 1,000. And I think on my second time through the game, I think I did it in like 7 minutes. And if you played a lot of Geometry Wars and you are good at this type of game, it is, in my opinion, incredibly easy. However, some people believe that it is not easy, and that's nothing against them. It's just a reality of some games. Some people are better at some games than other games. I'm terrible at third-person action games. Some people are great at third-person action games. This is a game that is about reaction time. It's about the way that the game displays if you're doing good or bad is not very well done. So it's very hard to tell when you're getting hit. So there's kind of just like, I don't know, it's a little bit of luck, and then it's just a little bit of like strategy and how you move around the map. And you can technically get your 1,000 in under 10 minutes. I think most people are probably going to clock in around 20 to 30 minutes, but some people will take 2 or more hours even. So that's kind of up to you if you guys want to do it. It's also a very cheap game. Everything from here on out has been covered in previous episodes of this series. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope the video was helpful. All that jazz. Entertaining, rather. Hope you guys just got to sit around. There is a secret word that we drop into these videos. If you've watched them previously, leave the comment down below. I want to see how many of you actually remember the boobies comment. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has gone on for much longer than I anticipated, but I had a great time talking about some video games with you guys. Let me know in the comments down below, what your gamer score is at, or if you disagree or agree with any of my opinions about the games we talked about just now. I'll see you guys soon with some more guides and the end of the year wrap-up stuff. Peace. Also, a special thanks to everyone on Patreon who does support the show. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you soon.